The following story takes place a long time ago in a galaxy not so far away, and I need a drink if I'm going to tell this one. My life. No, I do not recommend that anybody follows in my bizarrely horrible, bad, deprived footsteps. If you are watching this video, please learn from the mistakes I have made and do not make the same ones yourself. I am making this for safety and harm reduction to hopefully prevent people from making these same ridiculously dumb decisions like past Adam and hopefully not future Adam or present Adam will make. Now, that all being said, this story took place at a festival, not Shambhala, a different festival that shall not be named, which had a lot of hypersexualized energy in the air. And it was the last day of the festival, calling it a night, and this long-haired man with the warmest smile imaginable approached me and said, "Hey, you're that guy from YouTube. You know what? Me and my buddy, we got a cool story for you. You want to come over to our campsite and hear it?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's the last night. There's no more music playing. I'm just chilling with my girlfriend. Why not? Let's head over and, just chill with some warm-smiled hippies." So we get there. Him and this other dude are going on about the polyamorous relationship they're in with the chick that's there, which is cool. I mean, whatever, each their own. And they keep offering me drugs. They offer me a line of the white. And I'm like, ugh. I turn to my girlfriend and I'm like, you know what? I don't normally do this, but with your approval, is it okay if I take one line? Famous last words is one line. And shockingly, she was like, "Yeah, I'm for it. Go ahead, take a line. Maybe I'll do one too." And I was like, okay. Keep in mind, that has never and will never be my compound of choice. I've never really truly enjoyed it. But we had nothing else going on. It was the last night. I was like, hey, why not let loose? Let's throw my feet up and just see where this night takes us. So they make me the line. They actually made it on this strange little squared rock that looked like it was a piece out of some tiling that was supposed to go into a house being built. And they give it to me, did it, and, waited like a 5-10 minutes. I was like, yeah, whatever, don't really feel much. I'm like, oh, you know what, you just need a little bit more. I've never really felt the cocaine too much until I guess go beyond the limit that most people are at before they feel it. So he goes to make another line and he notices this strange pile on the slab. And he's like, oh, where'd this pile come from? His buddy's like, oh, I don't know. And he's like, yeah, I don't remember putting another pile here. And I remember thinking like, not really thinking anything of it. So he pulls from the pile, makes me a new line, hands it to me. It's a pretty fair-sized one because the first one didn't really do anything to me. They're obviously going to up the ante and give me something that's a little stronger this time to ensure that I get adequate effects. Do the line, and the first thing I notice, holy shit, that one really burned. And both of them just like look up from what they're doing. They're like, oh, it shouldn't burn. I was like, oh, it shouldn't burn. They're like, yeah, it shouldn't burn. I'm like, it shouldn't burn. And so he quickly reels in the slab, takes a gander at it, and goes, are you sure this is coke? At this point, there was a moment of silence. Each of them licked their finger, dipped it into the pile, and tasted it. And a solid minute went by as they just kept licking their fingers and looking at each other before someone finally told me the truth. They realized that there are two identical rock slabs on the table of two not identical, very different compounds. Now we're going to rewind. Prior to sitting down, we were talking about all of the popular festival drugs. And I was saying, you know what, I've tried ketamine dozens of times. I've never really liked it. And we were talking about neurotransmitters and how every substance affects everyone differently. And I'm like, just ketamine's not my thing. And I was telling them all these horror stories of some of these really bad experiences I had where I almost panicked and I felt like I'd had to go to if I was at a festival, the freaking sanctuary tent to calm me down because the substance really didn't match my aura. It didn't match my vibe, didn't match my neurochemistry. So bear in mind, I just finished explaining to these guys how much I hate, despise, and do not enjoy the effects of Special K. Lo and behold, what was on the mystery slab was a fat line of K. They've been doing drugs the whole festival. They forgot that they had two slabs going on. And he accidentally handed me the slab of the K, thinking, okay, maybe it wasn't that big of a line. Maybe it was a baby line. I was like, so that line wasn't that big, right? I looked, I was like, so, okay, whatever. It wasn't that big of a line, right? He looks down, he's like, yeah, no, it wasn't that. It wasn't that big. And then that told me everything I needed to know. I'm like, holy shit, these mother effers just fed me a monster line of K. K is dosed very differently. A line of white that's going to get you really chatty and talkative could possibly be a line of K that's going to K-hole you and put you into another frickin' dimension. And it was actually my girlfriend who looked at me and said, yes, Adam, that was a monster dose. Because no one had the balls to tell me what was about to happen. So I'm sitting there, my girlfriend's looking at me, and everyone's just like sweating. They're sweating bullets. Like, oh shit. This guy just finished telling us how much he despises K, and we just gave him a fat line of it. And that's exactly what I did. I just started to breathe. I went back into my meditative practices and I said to myself, okay, you can handle this. All you got to do is commit to not moving. Because I know that the second you try to move and try to assess your mental and physical faculties, and once you realize that you are so debilitated that you can barely function, as in move your hands in a concise way, that's when the paranoia and panic really starts to sink in. So I sit there and I just accepted my fate. And I said to myself in my head, I was like, Adam, we're just going to breathe and count our breaths. So I sat there, closed my eyes, and started to count my breaths. Inhale, exhale, 1. Inhale, exhale, 2. And then as I was doing that, I had this crazy realization that all of you guys need to check out this video's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Merrick Health. Merrick Health is a hormone optimization clinic, meaning if you feel under the weather, if you feel like you are maybe not getting morning wood as much, your penis is not as hard as it should be, your muscles aren't as big or thick as and dense as they should be, perhaps you are suffering from hypogonadism, i.e. lower testosterone. Perhaps your luteinizing hormone is not signaling the testes to release as much testosterone as it possibly can, which was exactly what happened to me. I was diagnosed with low testosterone. For the past 4 years, I have been on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and this video's sponsor is Merrick Health. They specialize in this. They also specialize in health optimization, meaning if you just feel like you're just not performing as well as you could be, they can check your blood, they can check all of your biomarkers, more biomarkers than the doctor would ever check, and they can tell you what you might be deficient in, what vitamins you're deficient in, if there's certain substances you might be taking that are actually dramatically negatively impacting your health, which is what I found out, and then they can give you your own tailored, personalized recipe for improving your health. So if you guys are watching this video and you're feeling like you might have low testosterone, even if you're just feeling like your hormones are not fully optimized, it doesn't hurt to get checked. Even if you go the healthy route and you decide to restore your testosterone naturally, today we're suffering from this massive pandemic of low testosterone in men, so it doesn't hurt to see just where you're at on the scale. Again, I've been doing it for 4 years. Cannot recommend anyone watching does follow my footsteps, but if you go to merrickhealth.com right now, use the code PsychSubstance, you're going to get an amazing 10% off. This is also Derek. We've done a few podcasts, my friend from More Plates, More Dates. This is his company, and I am so grateful that they've decided to sponsor some of these outlandish, crazy videos that I make. So again, head on over to Merrick Health, get your blood work taken. Doesn't mean you have to go on TRT. Don't think everyone should, but it doesn't hurt to just see where you're at. Anyway, back to the video. So I decided to focus on my breathing. You know what? During those 30 minutes, it was pretty intense. I was well aware that if I stood up and attempted the feat of walking, I would have fallen flat on my freaking face. I was blasted. I was verging K-hole blasted. I had a zero tolerance hypersensitivity to the K, and all that I could do was sit there and breathe. I am happy that I decided to just accept my fate and I didn't fight it, because if I were to have fought it, fighting it would have looked like this. It would have looked like, historically, when I fight something, I start to pace. My whole thing is I pace around until it wears off. But if I had gotten up and started to pace, I would have soon felt my legs fail beneath me and I would have fallen over. I wouldn't have been able to walk. Trademark effect of a high K dose is your legs turn to jelly and you just fall under the pressure of your own body. So thankfully, I decided that I was going to just sit there, wait it out, and I did. I did just that. Counted my breaths, waited out. And after I came to, my girlfriend even looked at me and she was like, wow, I am so impressed with how well you took that. Because everyone was fully expecting me to freak the F out. They were probably thinking, shit, we're going to have to call the paramedics. We're going to have to get this guy to the medical tent. But no, I did it. I made it through. And then I just kind of laughed it off. And I was like, that was shitty, but cool. Let's continue on with our night. After that, I did consume, embarrassingly, and I'm not proud of this, I did consume more of the true white powder. Had it not been so dark, I think everyone would have been able to differentiate between the K and the white, because the K is much more shard-like crystals. The white is much more powdery, but it was dark. It was nighttime. We had, just some camping lanterns. No one could really see the powder, which really adds to the confusion that ended up negatively impacting me. I mean, was it really negative? Yeah, it sucked. I did not enjoy the feeling. I really don't like K. Every single human alive has a very unique neurochemistry. They have unique enzymes that break down drugs in different ways, and different compounds really do affect different people in different ways. And some people are going to have a higher affinity for certain things, and then they're going to have, more negative effects with other things. And for me, K just is not something that has ever really tickled my fancy. It's never gotten me excited or made me feel good. it's always put me into a state of paranoia. So that's just not a substance that I personally enjoy. So it was really comical to me meeting these guys. And I just finished telling them how much I hate K, and they accidentally gave me a fat ass line of it. But I made it through. I'm hoping that you guys can learn from the story. Number one, don't accept anything from strangers, ever. Had I, insisted that we go to the drug testing tent immediately and tested all the bags of powder, I think I would have had much more wherewithal about me to make sure that the baggie it was coming out of was the right one. And I wouldn't have just accepted this random slab of marble, granite, whatever it was, with an unknown pile on it and been like, yeah, whatever, we just didn't notice the pile there. No, obviously we didn't notice the pile there because that was a different slab that had different things on it, and we were just all too effed up to really, know what was going on. So you should never accept anything from anybody without ever testing it first. If you guys don't know, you can actually get something called a reagent test. There's a link in the video description. You can use the Ehrlich, which for, lysergamides or for tryptamines. But if you're testing something like that, you're going to use Marquise, Mandolin, Mec. There's a whole slew, Froid. There's a whole slew of different reagents that you can get to test different compounds. Again, link below. And that will tell you, at least hopefully, that what you have is what you think you have. You're also going to want to fentanyl test it, because these days a lot of shit has been contaminated with fentanyl, and you can get all of these test kits online, and all you do is you take like a little dot of your powder, drip a drop of it on there, and it will color change, and you can look at the chart and be like, oh, if it turned black, it means this. If it turned purple, it's this. Match the color to what it, what the thing is and what you're expecting, and then you have a very clear, well, hopefully clear insight into what you're taking. Ideally, you want to know what you're taking. And if anything, I hope this story teaches you that you cannot just trust a random ass line from the warm-smiled, long-haired hippie dude at the festival, because it could drop you on your ass. And this story could have turned out so much worse than it actually did. There are so many horrible routes that we could have taken. The path forked into different routes, and I managed to take the one route where I made it out unscathed. So yeah, again, if something like this does happen to you, just breathe through it. And commit, this is key, commit to not moving. Pretend that you're paralyzed. All you do is just say, I am consciously choosing not to move. And because you consciously choose to breathe and not move, you actually never experience some of the debilitating physical aspects of it until it's worn off. But you trick yourself into thinking that it's your choice. It's your choice not to try moving. Do you get what I'm saying? Since it's your choice, it's less scary because you feel like you have a sense of control, albeit it is a faux control. Really, you're just at the whims of this substance. You're just riding. You're on the ride, man. You're strapped in. It's going to take you where it wants to go. But by tricking yourself into thinking you're choosing not to move, you are negating a lot of the physical symptoms that are attributed to things like K. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the story, make sure you leave this video with a big thumbs up. And comment below on what kind of videos you want to see next. I know I've been really slow with the uploads, trying to get the channel back on the tracks, get it in a good direction. And I hope you guys all enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next video.